Okay, just a quick history so you can see kind of my where we're coming from. In 1995, we started with internet services in Monterey. At that time, it was just dial-up. The crazy thing was the only dial-up at that point was in San Jose. So if you were a local Monterey County resident and you wanted to use internet, you had a long-distance phone call, because, you know, phone company was kind of weird with long distance back then. Anyway, we started up with email and dial-up, and at that time, there was a lot of companies in Monterey. If you remember any of these, sorry, I don't have Razolink because you didn't exist at that time. There was Internet Monterey Bay, MBayNet, Monterey Bay Internet, ScrewsNet, CarmelNet, NetPipe. All these companies have disappeared. And at that time, the national, what we considered regional national, was Prodigy, AOL, Netcom, and PacBell Internet. PacBell Internet, very interesting. Right? In 1999, we started offering DSL. Our introductory price for DSL was $9.95 a month, right? You think, wow, how can that be? That's because at that time, the phone companies that own all the phone lines were separate from the data, right? So there was two separate companies. There was PacBell, the phone company in our area, and PacBell, the internet company. Whatever the phone company leased that phone line, the copper, to the internet company, the law was they had to do the same thing to Redshift, to Monterey Bay Internet. Prices were low, competition was great. But then the laws changed. Somebody went to the government and said, hey, we could lower prices even more if you just change the law. Well, soon PacBell Internet didn't exist. It was just PacBell. Now the phone company owned the lines. And suddenly prices started going up from $9.95, $19, $20, $49. I don't know what everybody pays for internet now, but it's probably not $9.95 anymore. So anyway, about the next 10 years, we kind of battled the cable companies and the phone companies, kind of just wasting time. We saw this is never going to be a winning battle because the government uses our tax dollars to actually pay the cable companies and the phone companies. So we diversified and, you know, offer other services just to stay in business. But in 2010, we started offering fixed wireless internet, and we concentrate just on unserved or underserved areas, okay? So we don't offer wireless to city of Salinas or really any big city, Monterey, especially Monterey. They chose one company, Comcast, to be their provider for there. So anyway, we would never be able to survive. Redshift, we have about 14 employees right now. We keep 7 in Marina, 7 in Monterey. We're totally, we don't have investors, so any money we make, it all gets reinvested in Monterey County. We're really involved in the community. We support lots of nonprofits. And by support, we either give them free service, free consulting, or low cost. So I just have a small list here. Have a bigger list of everyone that we have free email, free web hosting, consulting. So lots of people up and down the coast that we support. Thank you. Sure, thank you. All right, I stole this graph from a report, a really fantastic report, actually. It was a survey. Most surveys, you probably know, are push-pull type. They know what the conclusions are, so then they structure the questions to get certain results. This was actually, I think, a very fair and honest survey that was probably funded by Sonny. Okay, the reason I have this is why this slope here. I don't think the government should ever count phone service as internet access and say, hey, they have internet because their phone works for broadband. People don't work that way. If you have 3 kids in the house, they can't all sit in front of a small screen and use it. So then based on this graph, we're actually losing ground on deploying internet access. Yeah, so I encourage everyone to get a copy of this report. I'll link it on the Redshift website. I'm sure MCBC has it. Anyway, I think this is super important. I only have a couple more slides left because I want to leave lots of time for questions and answers. I don't want to be very controversial, but that report says that 87% people in California or have service. Is that true for Monterey County? Do you think 87%, anywhere close to that? So how can we fix it? Okay, I have a lot of questions. And I ask about Big Sur. Big Sur is kind of my pet project. I've been trying for many years to get service down there. I think I'm really close. But this brings up a good question. If we know that there's hundreds and hundreds of homes in Big Sur, why aren't all the companies fighting to get there? Why isn't Charter doing something, trying to get there? Well, the terrain's very difficult, I understand. It's lots of investment up front, exactly. All right, well, I think it has to do a lot about big corporations, AT&T, Charter, they have stakeholders. I mean, they have investors, and they really need a kind of a short-term, probably, return on it. I think, let me just say right off the bat, I hate governments. I hate city governments. I hate state governments. You know, I'd rather pull my own teeth than have to talk to them. But having said that, I really want to give a shout out to the city of Gonzales. They've been a fantastic partner. By partnering with them, and they allowed us to use a rooftop, we've been able to reach out to very underserved areas. And the people that live in homes on the outskirts, these are our migrant farm workers, people that really can't afford to even live in town, let alone, you know, internet. So having said that, I hate city and state governments, but, you know, Gonzales has just been wonderful to work with. Yeah, so thank you. Since we're on the topic of government, I just want to say, if the government continues to allow the consolidation of companies, it's going to kill the internet. We just can't have AT&T gobbling up everybody, or Comcast gobbling up all the companies. We need competition. How can we introduce competition? When a city has resources like conduits or fiber, instead of signing a contract with Comcast or Charter, and I know there's a lot of Charter people, I don't want to get beat up after this, please.
They don't know what
Oh, okay. Have open access. Have people compete for that fiber. Say, anyone can use our fiber. You know, take ownership. Be a leader. And then let everybody compete on it. But what really happens in cities is, like, we have this fiber, and Comcast, you win. And now everybody else is shut out. Well, if they have the contract, sure, they're treating the city well, or the city manager, whoever, you know, approved that contract. But then everybody suffers. So if you can do anything with legislation, let's be, you know, let's not beat around the bush. Let's have open access. If there's a resource, let's open up to everybody. Of course, you know, you have qualifications, but it's really important. And probably one of the big reasons I hate government is the Universal Service Fund. This is a huge tax. When you probably see it on your phone bills. If you have a you know, a $30 phone bill, it shows up real tiny, right? But my bills are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for internet access. So that fund, the Universal Service tax, it is a tax, is horrible. And then when I find out that it's going to Comcast and AT&T to overbuild a network I already put in, it really pisses me off. All right, so, but I don't want to tell you everything is negative. We've had some really good successes. The VA clinic that went up in Marina, they couldn't do it because of federal regulations without an inspector on site that had a working phone. They went to Comcast, they went to AT&T. They couldn't start the project. Otto calls like, can you do anything? We're like, yeah, we'll be right there. We set up a wireless link back to our office, set up a phone system for them. In a few days, they were able to start construction. I'm really proud of the Camphora farm worker housing. Again, this comes back to City Gonzales. We have agreed to provide 10 years of free service to this new housing. It's an eating housing project. It's got, I don't remember how many homes, maybe 60 homes or so, but it's a low-income community. And just recently, we set up the Soledad Correctional Facility housing. These are, again, very low-income people living in trailers and tiny homes that work at the facility that are outside there. So we just set up that link. And again, we're using the City of Gonzales. So we're really proud of some of these projects that we've done. You know, we're not getting rich, but we are providing an essential service. But, you know, if someone's willing to help with some funds, be glad to take some. Let's see, and there was Bay Ridge. I put Bay Ridge up here because I live in that community, and the only thing we have is DSL service up there, and everybody says it sucks. So great, so now we put up some antennas, it sucks much less. Because there is no fiber access to get service up there, but we're working on that. Right, anyway, we are very committed to Monterey County, as you saw, not only by all the free service we give, but we've been here a long time. Okay, we've just continued to provide service. We've also moved into a lot of our service. About 75% of our wireless customers get their connection from solar panels and wind energy. So what we've been doing is using mountaintops to beam service down, and and then we also got certified green. So we're not only investing in community, we really kind of investing in the world. You know, we believe in clean energy and really trying to stay as green as possible. And we know that when we can provide service to someone in the outskirts, if they don't have to drive in, you know, we're helping the environment. So we really would like the cities to consider Redshift when they're thinking about projects and see what we can do to help you. Thank you very much.